talk a bit more about Platinum, as this is the main instrument that I was trading this week. As you maybe remember, last week I was backtesting it quite a lot, and that gave me a huge confidence to place way more trades on Platinum this week on 1 hour time frame. Still, a lot of things are missing, but that helped me to get out of my quite small drawdown which I had on my account. So let's jump to it. So here we are in TradeZella, and we can see this week, so from 23rd of June till the 27th of June, and my profit from this week is $694, and I placed 7 winning trades and 4 losing trades. The profit factor was 1.9, so that's very good. However, the average win-to-loss ratio was 1.1, so not great, but above 1, so that's good. So let's go now to the calendar, and we can see that the whole week was pretty green, only the first day was red, and 4 next ones were green. However, I have got 2 days of FOMO. One was on Monday, and one was on Thursday. As we can see, even that I was on a plus, I took 4 trades. So in this way, I ended up with 11 trades this week. So let's jump to the first trades on Monday, where I had the FOMO, and we can see that I started with Platinum, 2 trades, one after another, and after a loss, I was trying to revenge trade to get some profits. And then afterwards, I saw a clear setup on oil, however, that didn't work out. So why this first trade was a losing trade? Because I changed the time frames. Never ever, you should not change a time frame from a higher one to the lower one. If you are trading like me on 1 hour time frame, you should never go to the 15-minute time frame and try to look for the entries. And I started to change the time frame because I got a FOMO. As you can see, before placing this trade, there was a huge move to the upside, which I missed because I was still paper trading in the morning on Monday. So here we can see my paper trade, which I didn't take, and we can see 1, 2, 3 touch point break on 1 hour time frame. Then the price came back, retested that line, and went up. So this was my second opportunity to take a trade. The first one was unfortunately at 4 or 5 a.m. for me, so it was not possible to take this trade. However, when the price broke here around 8, 9 a.m., that trend line, I should have placed that trade. And as you can see, like, the price literally shoot to the moon. And that's why I got a FOMO, because I really wanted to take a trade on Platinum. However, I was still too scared. Still, the 72 ticks was terrifying me on Platinum, that it's too much. And the price made like more than 300 ticks afterwards. So afterwards, when I had got this FOMO, so we can see this was the move. But now we're on 15-minute time frame, and I started to look that maybe this price is doing a pullback. So maybe at 12, where I'm usually expecting the price to move for the Platinum, we'll start to do this upside move to 1,300. Unfortunately, I changed the time frame. That line was not existing on 1 hour time frame, only on a 15-minute. And it ended up that at the beginning it went slightly up, but then the price reversed and hit my stop loss. Also, I exited earlier to minimize my losses, and so that's why I only took the loss of $180 instead of $300. So at least that was good. So this is number 1 to remember, and never ever change the time frames. The second thing that was problematic for me this week was the wiggle room. I didn't give enough space for the price to move. So here we're having my only oil trade, and as previous week, I again got kicked out because I didn't give enough wiggle room. So here exactly we can see that literally the wick kicked me out from that trade, and if I would have got the stop loss slightly higher, I would still be on this trade, and it would be like a perfect winning trade because the price 3-4 hours later literally melted. Unfortunately, yeah, if you want to minimize the losses, you're staying with the small losses instead of the wins. So if we will look closer on this trade, we see that there was 1 to 3 touch point break of the price, However, this was Friday and the price didn't move any further. Then because of that conflict, the price of oil jumped in the morning. However, very fast it went back down, and then I created a second very thin line, and the price wanted to break this line at 8 a.m. in the morning, and then afterwards it started to break it after 12 p.m. And we can see that I was drawing the steeper safety line. However, that small wick kicked me out. And unfortunately, this is not the only trade that I didn't give the enough wiggle room this week. It also happened on Wednesday and on Thursday. That's why we're seeing 2 trades on Wednesday and 4 trades on Thursday. So when we look on Wednesday trades on Platinum, first I lost minus $163, and then afterwards I re-entered the position and I gained $371. Also, we can see that those trades are taken at 6 a.m. UK time, so it's very early in the morning. So here we're seeing what the price finally done. We had got 1, 2, and 3 touch points, and then the price broke at 6 a.m. and I entered immediately after the break to the trade. However, we can also see that we had got the safety line, which was very steep, and this move wasn't so smooth either. So here we can see that when the price just poked to the other side, I literally immediately took a trade. For me it was like 3 touch point break, I'm taking it. However, as we can see here, it was literally a fake out, and when the price crossed that safety line, which was very steep, I got kicked out. I didn't give any wiggle room. It was maybe 5 ticks. It wasn't obviously enough. So when we will go to the next trade, we can see that this is the same trade. However, I retook it when the price got back to the same entry level. You see that wick which literally kicked me out, and I took the trade, and then the price immediately moved up and hit my take profit. With this trade, I'm also very proud of the fact that I kept the trade for 75 ticks, so this is the biggest amount of ticks that I hold for Platinum, so that's very good. I'm very happy. And now let's very fast jump to the last trade that I took, which again I didn't take enough wiggle room. Same story, next day, why not? And we can see here that also, as I was mentioning here, it wasn't not enough wiggle room, but also a FOMO. And this first trade was taken against the trend because of the FOMO. And let's jump to the next one to see what happened there. So you can see there was a steep movement of the price, and then I decided to go somewhere here short. And then 3 seconds later I realized, like, no, wait a second, I'm going against the trend. Like, I should never go against the trend. The price is not just moving the other way. Like, I should wait until the price will decide that it's going the other direction. It's not telling me that yet. So I entered and got out very fast within I think 6 minutes and get $6. So at least on break even, and at least I realized that. However, then, as I said to myself, I should not go against the trend, then I started to look for the long trades. And that's why I entered here when the price broke this very weak trend line. And this was literally like a FOMO trade, like, no, the price made like such a huge move, but it didn't hit another number, 1,400. So let's jump to it, because probably it will hit this 1,400 after moving from literally like 1,300 to 1,400. And that kind of was not even such a huge mistake, apart from the fact that, again, I didn't give a wiggle room. And as we can see here, I exited on that candle still. The price even didn't go lower to my stop loss, but I moved it because it was literally 2 minutes before closing of that 1 hour candle, and the next one should open way higher. And that's why I started to move my stop loss, because come on, like, it's like 2 minutes before closing of the candle, like, it will not go down, and it went down. And then afterwards, when we will see the next trade, we can see that that next candle went pretty low, not lower than the previous bottom of the wick. However, if I would leave enough wiggle room, I would still be in that trade, and afterwards the move was very big, but oh well. Here afterwards I literally entered at the same place as I entered before. So I entered before in that level, and at the same level I entered here, and I wanted to get to 1400, but afterwards I was kind of like, I just want 300 from that market and I will be very happy with that. So these are my free trades that I didn't give enough wiggle room this week, and what I learned, I should give more wiggle room. That's why I'm putting now tags under the trades that I didn't give enough wiggle room, and I will try to always give way more of depending on the instrument. So for example, I know that for oil currently I'm thinking about 30 ticks. For platinum it might be those 20 ticks, so $100, and I need to incorporate this in my risk management. I cannot just put the stop loss and on the other side of the safety line and be happy with this if I will not give enough wiggle room. So this is another thing to work on. And the third and last thing that I need to work on platinum is the holding time and holding distance. So as I was telling you, from this trade I got 75 ticks, and this is my biggest amount of ticks till now on platinum, so I'm very happy with that. However, my aim for this week was 100 ticks. I didn't manage to get there. My trades, yes, they did it. However, I escaped way earlier than I should. And that's why I decided that next week I will try to keep the trades at least till 60 ticks or higher, and then if they're not above 60 ticks, then I will just keep the stop loss on break even, and then, well, it will end up on the zero. However, I should learn how to hold platinum way longer. Another thing that I was mentioning is a holding time. And as you know, I really love to look at the trade duration performance, and as you can see this week it wasn't so great because most of my trades were below half an hour holding time, so that's not good. However, it is platinum. I am still learning how to hold platinum. So we can see here that most of the trades were held between 17 minutes and 31 minutes, and that's why I decided that next week I will put on my phone an alarm for 20 minutes, and after the placing trade I will literally close the screen. I will not do anything with this trade for 20 minutes, and after the alarm will turn on, then I will check what is happening with it. That should help me to hold longer and be more sure about my stop loss and take profit. At the end, I will show you two most interesting trades from this week. So here we're having a winning trade where we had got the first point at the bottom there, then the second point here, and then the price broke the trend line. However, it went back, it retested that trend line, and then it started to go lower. And I'm so happy that I took it because it's kind of like a double confirmation, not only a break of the trend line but also like a retest. And then we can see that the price was hovering here, and then afterwards it started to melt. It hit my take profit of 100 ticks again. However, I exited earlier, and the reason why is because at the beginning the price went up to 100, then it went down, then it went up, down. So I was kind of in this roller coaster for quite some time, and when the price started to reverse from 300 to the downside again for a second, I just took profit and it was $256. And the last trade was taken today, and we can see that we have got 1, 2, 3 and 4th touch point here on the trend line. And because there was such a steep move, I was expecting that probably the price will reverse, and this was the first time that I was trying to place a bounce on the trend line. So I was expecting that the price will bounce from that trend line, go slightly higher, and then maybe reverse. Also, my risk was so small here because if the bounce would not work, then I would just be kicked out. And unfortunately, again, the price done 110 ticks. However, I only took, I think, 40 ticks from that trade, slightly below, I think, 39 ticks. However, this is a small profit. Interestingly here, maybe you know I have got something which is called bid adjustment turn on, and this is how the line was looking on the bid adjustment. And here you can see that the contracts were changing 2 days ago at midnight, and I decided to see how this line was looking without the bid adjustment. And to be honest, you can see now here that the price hit 1, 2, and also third time, because it was just before the contract was switching. And then this dotted line is showing us that the price actually, without the bid adjustment, with the normal view that you usually have, hit that line, and it was more thinking for a longer time, and then it bounced. So this was more of a proper bounce than the one that I took. So I will need to consider in the future if I will use bid adjustment or not. But that was very interesting to see how the market reacts on both of the trend lines, because from both of them there was a bounce. However, from the first one, the market still pushed further down. And that's all for today, and I hope you learned something new about Platinum, and hope to see you next time. Bye!